But yeah, also just to reintroduce Hinton, he is a student at UL studying architecture, and he grew up in a Lebanese family. So the history of the Lebanese in Lafayette, as well as the histories and the impacts of his cousins, the larger Lebanese community in Lafayette, has always been of great interest to him. He was born and raised here, and he currently lives here. And as I mentioned before, he received an undergraduate award, the Frank Caro Memorial Undergraduate Award for Folklife Field Research and Media Documentation, which is supported by the M.J. Sandler Family Fund for Culture and Media.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. Excuse me while I log into the project.
We didn't test the link.
Yeah. It should be live, though, for everybody who has access to the handout to be able to view the project. All right. So my project is based on the Lafayette Lebanese community. As an architecture student, I wanted to document the places and locations of the Lebanese from the late 19th century to present day. It's important to the story of Lafayette's urban development. So this project is going to be focused on those locations, those places, but I also, growing up in a Lebanese family, was impacted by the cultural traditions and practices, and so this project also has some examples of those as well. So, like I said before, that this project is accessible to everyone. It's public, so you can click through this project. It kind of just goes in a scrolling nature, but as I talked about before, this project is about the stories and places that document Lebanese businesses in Lafayette. And our people were people that came from their native country of Syria and Lebanon to an Acadian settlement in South Louisiana, which gave them everything: freedom, work, community, and much more. This project aims to show how the group took hold of and invested back into the community that gave them so much. In what's today Lafayette, in 1755, a group of 18,000 Acadians came from French Canada. They were expelled, and so they came here to settle in this area. In 1821, this area was founded as Vermilionville, and then later the name was changed to Lafayette. It was not long after it was changed to Lafayette in 1884 that the Lebanese started to come and travel over. The catalyst of their movement was the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the occupation of Syria and Lebanon by the French. The French occupied this area and influenced the language and the culture and the faith. And so it's a common held theory is that the reason that the Lebanese came to French settled areas was because they could speak French and they could trade and do their business in French. And so it was a natural fit for them to come to French occupied areas. The common story is that the Syrian male head of household would come by himself. He would travel and immigrate to America, and that he would peddle his wares and just make as much money as he could so that he could call back for his family in Syria. And as they started to come more rapidly, they established themselves in Lafayette, and they heard, oh, my cousin is in Lafayette. That's where I'm going to go. So that's how it all happened. So the focus of this project, like I said before, was to document the locations of Lebanese businesses in this area that we're currently in now, the Freetown Historic District, downtown, and the oil center. And so I have here a map of, this is not all 30 points, but I have 30 points, 30 locations of Lebanese businesses from the late 19th century to present day. Everything in the purple are businesses that have existed in the past, and everything, the two in pink, are still currently operating. And this is operable, so you're able to click on the location and see the address and the business. Let's see what else that we have. Aspar Abood Cash Grocery, Gila Hood Grocery, let's see, Pinhook Food Mart. This one y'all might know, the Putty Tat. So, now we go on to the map tour. So part of this project, an important part was taking photographs, photography. And so for every location, I went to the location and took my own photographs, as well as if I could find a historic photograph, I would include that as well. So this is one of the earliest stores, the Rashid Saloom General Store. And this is what it looks like current day. And you'll be able to click through and see historic photographs. The interior of the store here, and then I also included a lot of advertisements. That was my jumping off point. Initially I approached this project by doing interviews, and then all of a sudden I realized, well, why don't I go look in the historic newspapers and see what I can find. The way I found all these businesses was that when a company would advertise their product, coffee, soap, they would list the businesses that were carrying their product. And there was always 5, 7 Lebanese stores in that list. So that was one starting off point of being able to find out, okay, that name sounds Lebanese. Okay, let me go look at the census records and see where they're from. And sure enough, Syria or Lebanon. Another way that I found these names is that when they would donate to just causes like the Red Cross or soup kitchens, there would always be a block of Lebanese names all together. And so that was another big help for me in finding out the different Lebanese names. These are by no means the exhaustive list. I was only to do as many as I could, so I hope to continue forward, finding more names and finding more stories and telling the story of the Lebanese in Lafayette. So this is that first location. The Bustani department store, I think everybody is familiar with. And so this is a present day photograph. And then this is the article in the newspaper that is indicating that Rashid Saloom and his son-in-law, A.F. Bustani, formed a partnership to create this store. So that's the majority of my, what would be called a map tour. We have Evangeline May Bakery, photo by Philip Gold. Popular photo. Came across my Facebook page, that's how I found it. And then there's places like George Ilyich Grocery Store that are no longer existing. And so all I could do was take a photograph of the lot and then find evidence of the store on the Sanborn fire insurance maps. So here, highlighted in the blue, is the George Ilyich Grocery Store. And the way that I kind of corroborated that information was through the advertisements. It might say, let's see, 125 Lincoln Avenue. And so, based on the age of this advertisement, I would go to the Sanborn map that corresponded and be able to find the location, thus proving the existence of the store. Let's see. A store that really struck me. Let's see. Of course, we have a Dallas Smart Shop, which later became a Dallas department store downtown. And then we have a Dallas department store on East St. Mary Boulevard. But one that really struck me, let's see if I can. Ashy's Liquor Store. When this event was announced, the photo of Ashy's Liquor Store was sent to me on Facebook by an Ashy. I believe Miss Bridget was her name. And this was the photograph that I saw. And so naturally, I was finding all the locations that existed. But when I went to this location and I took my photographs, it was interesting to me. I was trying to kind of get the same angle, but it was interesting to me that as I walked on the sidewalk, I could see where the door was. And my kind mother actually took me around to take these photographs, and she was sitting in the car, and I'm standing in front of that slab, opening the door, as if I'm walking in. And then just to see the walls, where the walls were on the slab, to imagine being inside of that space was just super interesting to me. Seeing the thickness of the wall, how it was built, kind of speaks to my architectural training that I'm going through. So, like I said, there's 30 plus locations here, and on the flyer are all the locations, so that it's just easy to see through what I have. Something else important that I discovered was the United Syrian American Club, or the Cedar Club. And the location of the club, I believe to be on College Saloon Road, between Steiner and River Ranch Boulevard, next to the Fresh Market. So this is the information I found about where it's located. And here is the certificate from 1940 from the Southern Federation of Syrian Lebanon American Clubs certifying the Cedar Club in Lafayette. This is a present-day photograph. And then here are some, just a few. Like Tally said, our work is going to be housed and archived in the Center for Louisiana Studies website. And so everything that's on this presentation is not everything I found. So there's many more articles, many more photographs that I found that I just wasn't able to include on the presentation. But these are just a few of the newspaper articles talking about the club, talking about their civic work here in Lafayette. One of the interesting ones that I found, and I may not be able to, it may not be big enough here, but this is an article about a Syrian editor being honored in the Bustani home, the A.F. Bustani home, with a dinner. At the bottom of the article, the Syrian editor urged his people to use the name Lebanese, explaining the majority of those known as Syrians came from Lebanon, the stronghold of Christianity in the Far East. So I know that there's some question between families and about, are we Syrian, are we Lebanese? I just thought this was an interesting article that somebody, he was from New York City, came down to be honored here in Lafayette and was urging the Lebanese community to start using the name Lebanese. He was on a tour of America to do that same work, to urge that the Lebanese name be used. This is a map. I've named it Corridors Honoring the Lebanese Residents. It's a map of Lafayette. In the red is, it's quite big, it's hard to see. In the red line is College Saloon Road. The green line here is Asma Boulevard. And the blue line is Frim Bustani Drive. The red and blue shaded areas are the general regions that were owned by the Bustani and College Saloon family. So it wasn't only the historic district here that was influenced by the Lebanese community, but even out towards Costco, Ambassador Caffrey, the development of Lafayette was influenced by the Lebanese community all the way out there as well. So now we move into the cultural expression aspect of my project. This next section is called The Vine That Grows Across Generations. It's about the grapevine that's shared across different families and friends. That families and friends can come to one another's homes and pick grape leaves to make dolmas, or grape leaves. These photographs show Butch Thornton, the vine of Camille Ackle and Allison Ackle Herrera, all gifted to them by Jalel Ackle. the vines are 65 plus years old. So you can imagine that the history with these vines are important. A quote here by my cousin Allison. I've nurtured and cherished this vine that my Aunt Delelle uncle gave me in a pot to the ground to what it is today. It is not only the vine itself that is special to me, but the memories that the vine reminds me of. And I think that just talks to the Lebanese culture and what family and sentimentality means to us. Next is the gift of food. Lebanese women are the matriarchs of the home, and with that comes rule over the food. The tradition is that if you have hair on the back of your hands, you're not allowed in the kitchen. But that does not stop them from involving all their family in the gift of food. And so I've had the pleasure of my grandnanny, Mary Jo Manning, sharing with me the Lebanese food traditions, teaching me how to cook, something that I want to continue forward in our family. And just for the general Lafayette community. So here we have grape leaves we made last year. And then I was kindly invited by my friend Penny McGeehee to her annual grape leaf rolling party, in which she invites all her friends and family, and they roll grape leaves, and they get to take them home with instructions on how to cook them. And I just think that's an amazing way to continue forward hospitality, family and friendship, and the Lebanese food culture. And then my mother, Anne Thornton, of Cajun heritage, married into a Lebanese family, rolling grape leaves in her kitchen. So you can see, too, that the Lebanese culture goes outside of just the Lebanese families and influences those around them, even of the Acadian culture, the same way that the Acadian culture has influenced the Lebanese. Making cabbage rolls for New Year's. Here we have a mix of Cajun and Lebanese spices. I think that's really cool. And making mamoul, the Easter cookie. This is a special memory I have with my grandnanny, making a cookie with her. We've done so many times, and I just find the process and the time that we get to spend together really exciting and valuable. Next, Lebanese gold. The story goes that the bank was on your arm. In the old country, when times were good, Lebanese men would buy their wives golden bangles. When times were bad, they would sell them to keep the family going. Although my source says she's never heard of anybody selling their bangles. Some Lebanese women always wear their bangles, while some wear them for special occasions. And I loved this photograph. I wish it was a little bit smaller. I'll have to go change that, but I just love the photograph. It's a beautiful photograph, in my opinion. And something interesting about these golden bangles, that they're no longer connected only to the monetary value, but to the memories of the people that have given them to the recipient. And two of these bangles on my cousin Allison's arm originate from the old country. So that was something I didn't expect to learn, that was still in existence. And here we have, again, my mother, wearing her gold bangles as a Cajun. She said, and I will admit, this was just an hour before this presentation, that every gold bangle has special meaning to her. And when she said that, something struck me, and I just couldn't not put it in. So, there we go. Of course, we have holiday gatherings. Times of fellowship and friendship and food, just like any other family. But it would not be Lebanese without the food, the fine dress, and singing that are common amongst many. So we have just some photographs from family Christmas, baba ganoush, hummus, and grape leaves. And then the best part, the star, kibineh. Kibineh is the pieces and parts of kibi except nay is raw, and the hashwi is the stuffing inside of the kibbe that we eat. And it's always a fight to get to it. More Christmas, more exciting memories, grape leaves, kibbe, situs, cornbread dressing, can't forget that. And then finally, at Miss Penny McGee's grape leaf rolling party, family and friends sitting around the piano, singing, enjoying their time together, talking. And that's the end of my presentation. I would like to thank Mr. Mark J. Sindler for providing me the opportunity for this presentation. And I have a list here of all the people I'd like to thank. Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Abdella, Camille Ackle, Barbara Abdella Black and Bradley Black, Dr. Ray and Miss Ray Grassier, Mr. and Mrs. Alan Broussard, Joshua Caffrey, Bob and Ashley Dartez, Rachel Doherty, Michael Dumit, Allison Ackle Herrera, Kevin Hislop, Mary Landry Hopkins, Robbie Montauk, Mary Jo Ackle Manning, Penny McGehee, Corey Saft, Holly Saloom, John Sharp, the Thornton family, and Jane Bedreen for the conversations and the resources that made this project possible.
Nice.
Thank you.
We have plenty of time for questions or comments, but also Hinton did want to point out that he put a couple of notepads and pens over here in case any of y'all have some contributions that you'd like to make, because this is an ongoing project. I mean, it just went live today, and it's a website, so you can always update it and
Always looking to add more information, more stories, more richness and depth to this project. So feel free to write your name and phone number down and leave it with me, with Rachel, and that way I can get in contact with you and we can continue this forward.
Also, if you'd like to take another handout with the QR code to access the his ArcGIS project, which is a website, I have more. I have some on the entry table near the sign-up book. But yeah, please take it with you and show your friends and family.
How many Lebanese families did you identify?
So I identified 30 businesses just on this project. Some families have multiple, but it's certainly not every single one.
Are that Dallas here connected to that Dallas and Honolulu?
Yes. So this project's focus was just in Lafayette, this downtown historic region, Freetown. But this project has the potential to study those other Opelousas, New Iberia, everything like that.
Two businesses still in existence that you read?
So there's Renaissance Market is run by Mary Landry Hopkins, who was a John, and or her mother was a John. And so she still runs that location. They serve Lebanese food, and they're a fine French antique market. And then there's Cedar Grocery, which is right down the road here, that serves food and provides Mediterranean groceries to the Lebanese community.
Are you considering expanding your project to give us some resources to be able to identify the professionals who did not have a business, but were doctors or dentists or lawyers or judges or whatever? It seems to me that this is wonderful. I mean, to be able to know. I live just across the courtyard from a descendant of the standing department school. And I'm sure she's going to be delighted to know she can go and look at that. Maybe she'll contact you if she has information. But I just wondered, because they certainly were pioneers and leaders in the profession, and still are.
Certainly,
the community really depends on.
You make a great point, and this project is focused on those early pioneers, the merchants. But yes, I do plan on continuing project spans many generations and many different locations, so the potential to go outwards is immense.
So I'm Father Alex Harb. I'm Maronite Catholic. Maronite Catholics are from Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been looking a little bit about the religious, the church history within Lafayette and Louisiana. Have you seen anything about churches where Maronites or where Lebanese would go establish the churches, build the churches, like the Roman Catholic churches in the Diocese of Lafayette or otherwise?
Yeah, I didn't focus too much on the religious aspect of the Lebanese, although I did know about the Maronite heritage, and I've heard, in fact, Mr. Ravi Mantov told me that there's plenty of Lebanese that have invested in the Roman Catholic Church here, and there's also been efforts to start a Maronite church. I'm not sure, I don't think they had succeeded, but that there was certainly involvement, large involvement by the Lebanese into the community, the religious community.
Into your project you just open, have no ending, just like today, present time, the two city judges, Ustani and Fed, the two last names of the Lebanese.
Yes.
So this is like you only touch like 1% of the story.
Exactly.
It's bigger than this,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did have a year, really only 8 months, and that's 2
I know
semesters.
you're there.
Yes. Oh, you do?
You come to my restaurant.
George.
Yeah. You also talk to me. You only talk to
No, but yeah.
Because he sent me text, he said, well,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you, but then he didn't talk to me. But I said, hey, talk to him. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. I have a few minutes.
Your articles are in my project.
Oh my God.
Yes. Green olive.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
Yeah, I start my business on credit card.
Oh, really?
With no credit.
Oh, wow.
It's the Lebanese spirit, you know.
Well, yeah, I continue to keep researching.
Good luck. If you need anything, call me. Your dad, you know.
Okay. Thank you all so much.